All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am Stacy Feil with ICF Heartland, and we are here for our final International Coaching Week Coach Niche Chat interview. And I'm delighted to have Melissa Arthur with me. She is a health and wellness coach. So we'll be talking about health and wellness coaching today. Melissa, thank you so much for being with me today. And thank you for rescheduling.
Thank you so much for having me. I am really happy to be here. And in my world, every week is coaching week. So
Nice.
having the opportunity to get to share about what I love to do is wonderful for me. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, nice. So let's get started by kind of just laying out at the beginning what health and wellness coaching is not. There's a lot of, trainers and nutritionists and a lot of people in a lot of different health and wellness areas that call themselves coaches. And so from your perspective, what do you not do as a health and wellness coach?
Yeah. So in the care center where I work, I get referrals from providers to work with patients on whatever health and wellness goals that they have. And as I'm walking into the exam room, preparing to talk to them about coaching and find out if they want to sign up, I always imagine that they're probably thinking Jillian Michaels is about to show up and have them do squats or something like that, because there is so much in the popular media, all kinds of support in for health and wellness. And it's wonderful that there is so much support out there, and that Jillian Michaels is great when you're ready for that. But at the point at which someone has maybe just received a difficult diagnosis or has, seen that their biometrics are not where they want them to be and they feel really stuck and disappointed, I feel it's refreshing for them to find that the person who walks in the room is there to listen, to empathize with them, to figure out where they are and meet them there, figure out what they're ready to do, help them lay out a pathway and take a first step. And that, it's not health policing. We are considering the doctor's recommendations, of course, but we'll start with whatever they're ready to do. And that I think that the fact that I see the patient or the client as the expert in their own lives is something that differentiates coaching from, the other support professionals and medical professionals that they've talked to, or maybe a little bit more in an authority position and saying, here's what you need to do. I'm saying you're the expert in your own life, and we're going to figure this out together for how this is going to work for you. And finally, I think the thing people are surprised about is that I really want them to enjoy their life. When you start working with a health coach, if you're working on something like weight loss, the number on the scale, in my view, what does it matter if you're not enjoying your life, if you're not feeling good, if you're not being the person that you want to be? So we really focus on that vision and help people to frame it up in a way that maybe is really hard to do when you're on your own and you're feeling overwhelmed about your health.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you work in a clinical setting. Talk to us a little bit about what that means. I think a lot of people are surprised when they hear that coaches do work in medical settings.
Yeah, so now is a really exciting time for health coaching, and there are health coaches being integrated into medical practices, and I am really grateful to get to work in one of those settings. I work at SpireCare in Kansas City, Kansas, and SpireCare is a partnership between Vera Whole Health out of Seattle and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. And it is an advanced integrated primary care model where we really focus on preventative care. We really focus on listening to our patients, taking extra time with them. And we have a lot of extra services that we provide to really support them in the life stuff that happens between where you are with your health and where you want to be, And so I get to work as part of an integrated care team with doctors and nurse practitioners and nurses. We have a behavioral health clinician in-house. We have diabetic educators and so much support for the patients.
So it really is an integrated approach then where you're at.
We do. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
an integrated approach, and we discuss the patient case and what each of us has to bring, the puzzle pieces
Mm-hmm.
fit together from each of our perspectives. And I love coaching in that environment because I get to meet with these people, often every week or every other week. And because of the depth of the relationship that we form, I know things about them that are impacting their health. And so when we can put that together with the rest of their medical team and really figure out what's getting in their way and how we can truly support them as a team, it is a really, really powerful experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, what about those medical clinics that may not have on-site coaches? What you're describing is fantastic, and I think it's the ideal for any medical setting, but maybe not everyone has access to a medical facility with a coach. Talk to us a little bit about what a person can do if they're listening to you and they're thinking, well, gosh, my doctor didn't say anything about this.
Yeah. Well, coaching in medical settings is very new. The American Medical Association just approved a CPT code for billing, which means that, we're making progress in terms of if you don't have a CPT code, it's very hard to get something integrated into a medical practice. And so we are building the groundwork so that more people can have this experience. But in the meantime, I talk to my primary care provider and other doctors that I talk with. There's just such a high level of burnout in their field because they have to deliver this tough health news and make recommendations. And then time and time again, they see people come back who have not been able to make those lifestyle and behavior changes that are really going to support them. Because we all know how difficult that is. And so ideally, we could connect medical practices with coaches who are in private practice to support patients in that way. And that's something that I also coach in private practice and do health coaching in that way. And I'm hoping to continue making more of those connections because the company that I work for, Vera, really views this as a health revolution, that we are really shaking things up and making really positive changes in the system. And I'm excited to be part of that. It's hard work. You have to really lay the groundwork as you're, in the field and solving problems and doing all those things. And so we're building it. It's not built, it's not there, but it's an exciting time.
Yeah, so I want to follow up with your private practice, but before I do that, just to finish up on this in facility in clinic setting, yeah. If someone wants a coach, can they ask their doctor for a coach?
At my clinic or at any clinic?
At any clinic. Yeah.
They can ask their doctor for a coach. Sometimes medical practices, it just depends on what they have in their referral network, and what they have available through insurance and what people are willing to pay and all of those kinds of things. So it's variable. The accessibility is variable.
Yeah, and that was sort of a loaded question on my part because I know not all, facilities have coaches and not all doctors are familiar with the service that coaches provide. And so, like you said, we're laying the groundwork for what it looks like and just beginning this revolution of wellness and health and integrative care within the medical community that really addresses all of a person's needs.
Yeah. And so if you find yourself in a position where you're not able to get a referral for coaching, you can go to the Coach Finder on the ICF website or look up National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coaches and kind of do a search in your own area and uncover who's available.
Yeah. And for all of those of you listening, of course, you can always reach out to our chapter, icfheartland.org. We do have a couple different health and wellness coaches. We have at least one board certified coach. And Melissa, I know you are working towards your boards and will be board certified hopefully by the end of this year. Talk to us a little bit about what that means to be board certified as a health and wellness coach.
Yeah, so our onboarding program at Vera is an approved program for the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. And it really just shows a high level of training and experience and knowledge in the processes and competencies of coaching, as well as in basic knowledge of evidence-based lifestyle medicine practices. And so I have completed all my training and just on the calendar, kind of waiting for that day to roll around where I get to sit and take that exam. But I will add that to my ACC certification from ICF and really feel great about that accomplishment when it comes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That is a big accomplishment. So congratulations on getting to this point in that process. Yeah, it's a long process. And so I'm saying this, and for those of you out there who don't know, I am a board certified health and wellness coach. So I have been through this process. So that's why I'm, having such a familiar conversation here with Melissa about this. And I will say too, it's one of my favorite niches. It's where I got my start in coaching. So it really hits close to home for me. So tell us a little bit about your practice. So you work in a medical setting, a clinical setting, but you also have a private practice. And I think private practice is more what people are used to when they talk with a coach. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So my private practice is called Illuminate Guidance, and it's just me here in my home office. It's an LLC in terms of the business structure of it, and my primary audience is women who are experiencing some drive or some need to shake things up in their lives, to make that career change, make those health changes, make those critical changes in any area of their life that is, and to have support to get past what's holding them back. And so I meet with a lot of my clients right here in my home office, but I also meet with a lot of them over the phone. And I'm here 2 days a week, and then I'm in the clinic 3 days a week. And I really love the balance of having work in the medical practice, but then getting to innovate and experiment with the coaching that I, feel called to do in my own practice. So there's a lot of freedom in it, and a lot of just a lot of fun to innovate and help people in new ways.
Yeah. So now, how did you get started in coaching?
Well, it was a long and winding process for me. It was a midlife career change for me. I had a wonderful career as a director of operations in a nonprofit environmental education organization. And about 12 years ago, I was pretty happy with how all of that was going, but I experienced a series of really stressful life events, and the stress ended up impacting my health. So I burned out my adrenals. My endocrine system was off in many ways. It had impacted my sleep, my energy, my blood sugar, my stress response, and I was really having a hard time. And, the doctors at the time were like, well, you're probably going to be diabetic and you need to start taking this medicine and hope for the best. And I just couldn't accept that. I didn't feel like that's at that point in my life where I was headed. So I was connected with a functional medicine clinic that had a health coach and went through the health coaching process with her. And through a series of lifestyle changes and stress management techniques and all of those things that she helped me to discover, I was healed in 6 months. And so really experiencing the power of having someone there who says, you know what, you're not alone. I believe you can turn this around. I'm going to walk with you along the way. You're going to have to do some hard things, like, telling someone who, can barely get out of bed that they need to quit drinking coffee is a really tough thing to do on your own. And so I find my patients in that situation a lot, and I have a lot of empathy for that, because I've been there, you know.
Yeah.
So from there, I thought, well, I need to get better about how I manage my stress. And I got really into yoga and yoga sister science, Ayurveda. And I ended up owning a yoga studio with a couple of my friends for almost 10 years. And through that experience, I was exposed to so many wonderful teachers and wellness practices and things like that. And then eventually I went to a coaching program at the Kansas Leadership Center as part of my other job, as part of my leadership training. And something just clicked in place. And I remembered that early experience from health coaching. And I do some leadership coaching as well. And I really loved, it's an ICF approved program. And I just really loved working with the competencies and was just really impressed by the whole thing, and just found myself really at home within that. And because I had experience with the wellness practices, I kind of gravitated toward that area and decided to go out on my own and start my private practice. And then very shortly after that, got recruited from Vera to go ahead and work in the clinic. So I've been putting that together ever since.
Yeah. Nice. Wow. That's quite a journey. And I love the fact that you've been there yourself, that you've had those health struggles. Everyone has health struggles along the way at some point. And the fact that you were able to do the hard work and reach out to someone who had the skills to help you. And now you're doing that for other people. I mean, who can ask for a better coach than someone who's been there themselves? I mean, really. So what have you found most surprising about being a health and wellness coach?
You know, I have always been like crisis central 911 for my friends and family. And yeah, in my early years, I found that very overwhelming and depleting at times. And so my mother was a therapist, and I thought I could never go into that kind of work professionally because it would just drain me so much. And once I went through the ICF training and started practicing the competencies and setting the boundaries and all of that, I realized that I could do this and help people in such a more powerful way, and that I can do that in a way that is energizing to me and doesn't feel depleting at all. You know, I have tough patients and long days sometimes, but in general, I feel energized and I learn so much from them. You know, I just every day I'm learning about myself, about, you know, health and wellness, about all of these things. And it just enriches my life in so many ways.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, we've got a couple people on Facebook that wanted to say hello to you. Seth Bates says hello. You may know him from the Kansas Leadership Center.
One of my early mentors.
Yeah.
I was very inspired by my work with Seth. Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope I'm saying this name right, Leah Adaya Lee.
Yeah.
Did you say that right? Yes. She says you are amazing. And Rochelle Huddleston wanted to reach out and say that it's so great to see you and hear from you today.
Guys.
So tell us about that transition. So you've made a few transitions in life. For those of the coaches listening or people who are considering going into coaching, what was that transition like, going from learning and considering whether or not you wanted to be a coach to actually becoming a coach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because I work with a lot of clients in my private practice on career transitions, and I draw on my own experience because I'm always switching stuff. And that experience was a wild ride, you know. Because I already owned my yoga studio, I already owned a business. And so I think that gave me a lot of confidence to know that I know what to do. I can start a really simple business here and just take my time, and started taking on practice clients for my certification, and I had wonderful friends who signed up to be my guinea pigs and just really helped me own my skills and develop them in a way that I felt confident was going to work for people, and that would be something that would be needed out in the coaching market. And so I talk to my clients about this all the time, but there's so much fear that comes up when we start to get out of our safety net and our comfort zone and dip our toe into something new. It's just like, it can hit you like a ton of bricks sometimes. And so like I talk with my clients about managing the fear around putting yourself out there in a new field is one of the primary things, because in our culture, I think that, we see a change as, okay, I'm here, I'm going to set a goal over here, and through sheer willpower and determination and hard work, I'm going to walk this straight line and get there, by this date that I put on my calendar, right? And so it's either success or failure. If I fall off this straight line, I failed, and I will go down in a ball of shame, But what really happens in the real world is that it's really like this, and you take a step, you learn. Sometimes you have setbacks, sometimes you have celebrations, and you build on what works, you let go what doesn't. And I had a lot of coaching support to keep me in the game as well. So, it's so important to have coaching support when you're going through a big life transition like that, because, to have someone to say, it's normal. Our brains were designed to live in a really different world, and their primary, stress response is, I want to keep you safe. And when you step out into something that feels uncomfortable, we have this response that is natural, but it's not who we are. We can say, okay, that's a cool fear story, but that's not who I am, and that's not what this is about, and I'm moving forward from here.
Yeah. Well, and all that you just said is true about a person's health journey as well, and their journey to wellness. That fear of, here's where I am and there's where I want to be, but it's different and it's not familiar and it requires change. So, yeah, wow. Tell us about, and I know this is switching gears a little bit, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. The HIPAA, the Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act. A lot of people that reach out about health and wellness coaching are concerned that their information is going to be used against them or in some way that violates their privacy. And so talk to us a little bit about how you as a health and wellness coach live by the HIPAA policy and standard.
By the HIPAA policy and standard. Well, in the clinic setting, we receive extensive training, and everything is firewalled and completely set up, and we take HIPAA very seriously. Patient privacy is important, both in the clinic setting and in private practice. And so in all coaching settings, confidentiality is extremely important. And we set up that expectation from the beginning. And, I take what I've learned in the clinic setting about how to secure your records and how to, do all of those things that protect patients' privacy and their identity and those things so that they can feel safe and secure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one thing that sets a certified coach apart from maybe some other types of coaches in the wellness or the health industry, is that attention to the ethics and the standards of privacy. So when someone works with you, they know that whatever they share with you, whatever those deep-seated fears are that they need to talk about, that's not going anywhere. When they talk with you, it stays between you and them.
Yeah, and establishing that trust in the beginning of the coaching relationship is the most important thing that happens in that first meeting and continues throughout. And certified coaches take that very, very seriously.
Yeah. Okay. So what else do you want people to know about what you do as a health and wellness coach? Let's put some boundaries around that question and say, in your private practice, what else would you like people to know about what you do as a health and wellness coach?
Oh, okay. Well, so in my private practice, it's in a little bit of a transition right now because we have just wound down the yoga studio. We decided to close in the beginning of May because of safety concerns about COVID. And so all the time and the energy that went into that project has been freed up to do some other things in my business. And so I'm working now on bringing some of my teaching and some of my consulting work from that umbrella into the Illuminate Guidance umbrella to kind of run parallel to the coaching work that I do. And so a lot of my students at the studio, a lot of my private clients who've had classes with me, I teach a lot of classes on meditation and mindfulness and on Ayurveda, how to balance your body with the elements of nature and those kinds of things. And sometimes they want me to wear that consultant hat to help them set up a plan, to build healthy anchors into their day, to look at what it is they're eating and their daily routines and different practices for breathing and things like that that will really support them. And then, switching that hat around to then supporting them through coaching with however that process unfolds is something that's the direction that my business is headed right now. Yeah, so it's an exciting time to be able to really just be in the business long enough to notice what my clients are needing and create it. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about so you mentioned, you had to close the yoga practice because of the current pandemic. So talk to us a little bit about COVID and how you see your services maybe changing because of COVID-19.
Yeah. Oh, that is a big question. Everything has changed, as we all know. But I think that this is opening up some really new fertile ground for coaches because those who are experiencing chronic high-risk health conditions like blood pressure issues and diabetes and those kinds of things, the stakes are higher now. They've always been high, but it feels much more threatening, and they really need more support to more quickly shift into addressing those concerns. So I'm seeing a lot of that, that fear is driving people to take better care of themselves. But I'm also seeing this amazing revolution of self-care that people are at home. Time is such a limiting factor when you're trying to implement healthy habits, and just the pace of our lives has just gotten to be ridiculous. And so many people, and not all people do have extra time right now, but many people who do, I'm seeing my patients learn how to cook, going on walks with their families, taking time to just breathe and really enjoying and experiencing the health impact of that, to the point where now our coaching plans are transitioning into, I don't want to go back to the way I was before, because it's a different person that's going back into the world when the time comes. And they have these new skills. They have this experience with what it's like to slow down and really listen to your body, listen to what's going on, and really take care of yourself in a different way. And then on top of that, this kind of thing, this is just, we've never been through anything like this. And it causes a lot of people to question, why am I here? Are the things that I'm doing the things that I need to be doing? And so in my private practice, I'm seeing a lot more relationship transitions, a lot more career transitions, a lot more support needed with just saying, I need to get it together because I've waited too long and I don't want to wait anymore.
Yeah, it's really showing people what their true priorities are and really illuminating what's important
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, just having an opportunity, I define health and wellness as a consistent experience of satisfaction, enthusiasm, and joy. We're not talking about let's just make sure we don't have a chronic disease. Let's thrive. Let's shine. Let's live our purpose and go out into the world and be who it is that we're meant to be. And, I'm so grateful to my parents for raising me with that mindset. I just, burst out from their care into the world thinking, that's why I'm here. But many people haven't had the experience of being able to see life in that way. And that, we all have a right to feel good, to be healthy, to live our purpose. And much of our work is just getting out of our own way, Yeah.
Yeah. Say that statement again. A consistent feeling of
satisfaction, enthusiasm, and joy.
Satisfaction, enthusiasm, and joy. I love that.
Yeah, and that comes from Ayurveda. It's just a really beautiful way of looking at the whole picture of health, which also includes, your dharma or your life purpose. Because I think that, when we end up doing what we think we're supposed to do, or somehow going down a path that doesn't really fit us and getting stuck there, that there's this low-lying static and stress that it drains our energy, and it creates, sometimes creates health problems over time when we're living in ways that just don't meet who we really know that we are. Or if we don't know who we are and we're just living and we're kind of just flowing with wherever the wind takes us, which is okay too. But there are a lot of people who are waking up right now to the idea that they have the inner authority to make changes, to create their life in the way that that really works for them. And that's what I'm here to help them do.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we have gone for about 30 minutes now, and I want to honor everyone's time. There's so much more we could talk about around this subject, but I think this is a good place to end. Melissa, I want to thank you for being with us. And before we do end, I want to ask a final question about your experience with ICF. What made you decide to affiliate with ICF specifically as a governing organization?
Yeah, so the training program that I went through was an ICF approved program. And through that, I became very familiar with the core competencies and the code of ethics and just the whole coaching culture that ICF promotes. Was really, in my view, just the gold standard of what I wanted to represent as a coach. And so it was natural for me to go on and get my ACC and to continue as a member of ICF Global as well as Heartland, because I think that's part of being a professional, supporting your professional organizations and taking advantage of the support that they have for you it's just part of being a professional in my view. And I have benefited in many ways from the ongoing support and network and all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. And we are thrilled to have you as a member of our Heartland chapter. And so for any of you listening who are curious about what that means, please reach out to me or to Melissa. Melissa, give your website, your business name again.
IlluminateGuidance.com.
IlluminateGuidance.com. And of course, you can find her on our ICFHeartland.org website as well in our Find a Coach search option. So this wraps up our final interview of International Coaching Week. We will be holding a drawing for our social media blast contest. We will do that live next Wednesday. So I will be sending out an email about that, and we will draw for the winner. Thank you so much for all of you that tuned in today. And again, Melissa, thank you for doing this with me. It's been such a pleasure. And I hope we chat again soon.
Thank you, Stacy. It's been a pleasure for me too. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.